Hi, my name is Carissa Bowen, and I'm making this video to offer an example of how to integrate critical pedagogy into a choir rehearsal setting. Before we begin, I think it would be helpful to give a brief overview of what critical pedagogy is. To quote Dr. Abrahams in his article, The Application of Critical Pedagogy to Music Teaching and Learning, he offers that critical pedagogy was developed by Paulo Freire in Brazil in the 1960s to teach illiterate adults, which Freire calls the oppressed, to read Portuguese. Believing that teaching was a conversation or dialogue between the teacher and the student, Freire posed problems for his students that caused them to take what they already knew and understood from the world outside the classroom and connect it to his goals of literacy, namely the ability to read and write the language. There are 5 tenets of critical pedagogy which can all be transferred to the music classroom. They are as follows. The first tenet is education is a dialogue between student and teacher, during which problems are posed and solutions are formed as a collaborative effort of all those in the classroom. The second tenet refers to education affecting a change in perception of how both the teacher and the student perceive the world. The third tenet refers to education as being empowering. The term conscientization is usually linked to this point and is defined as the moment that when the learner knows that they know. This is the aha moment when the learner understands the newly introduced information and has related it to something meaningful to them personally, allowing them to use this knowledge and build upon it for further learning. Fourth, education is transformative. This occurs when conscientization occurs and there is a change in perception. This is also the point in the lesson when a teacher can assess learning. If there is no change in perception, then the teacher needs to go back and reteach because the students are not understanding the content. Lastly is the understanding that education is political. A critical pedagogy classroom resists the standard classroom model of teacher in charge and offers an environment where both teacher and student share the power throughout the course of the lesson. In the video clip to follow, I used the newly created critical pedagogy lesson plan format to guide a choir rehearsal at my secondary praxis site. The new CP lesson format follows only 4 steps instead of the 8-step original plan, but still connects to right and left brain learning. This rehearsal is with 8th grade choir and works on the piece Give Me Wings, arranged by Mark Patterson. My focus during this rehearsal is to introduce the musical term rubato and to also help the students with phrasing of the piece. I will label the process steps in the lesson to finish out the video, going through problematize, which is introduced at the very end of the warm-ups, prescribe, process, and perform. I've edited the video to start just after warm-ups. We started by trying to perform the first verse of Wings, and I noticed that the students weren't understanding the phrasing well, which is a review of what we've gone over before. So I paired them up, and we are trying an exercise where they are pushing on each other's hands and leaning into the phrase. So that's where this video is starting.
This is what we're going to do. We know the melody of the song. So with our partners, we're going to put our hands up, and we're going to go on, ah. On ah, we're going to go, ah.
We're both going to go.
Yeah.
You're both going to fall.
Yeah, right? I can see everyone's going. Okay, so let's try that. And do you know why this is effective?
I really don't.
Why do we, are we?
Because you're supposed to go.
It's helping us with our crescendo through our phrase. And because in the middle of the phrase, we're going to be face to face, you're not going to want to take a breath because that's going to be really awkward. You know?
I get scared.
So let's try that on law.
Go farther away.
Yes, let's try this on law.
What are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
So we shouldn't be leaning right now. We should not be leaning right now.
On the melody.
No leaning right now. The phrase. Okay? So this is our pitch. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe. Keep going. word means?
Rub. Rubato.
That's a robot thing.
Exactly.
Like,
Okay. Rubato is an Italian word for robbed, and it's important in our piece because it allows us to take freedom and like liberty with the tempo. So there's going to be parts where it's very important for you to pay attention to the conductor in this song. If you look at measure 34 in your music, you see rallentando at the top. That's a very important place that we're going to mark where we have to pay attention because it's going to get slower. And that's for dramatic effect. Okay? So what does rubato mean? It's not robot.
You can change the
It means,
tempo.
yes, the tempo will change for dramatic effect.
dramatic effect.
And the way that we do that in a choir is by paying attention to the conductor. If you're singing a solo, it's different. You can take liberties, and it doesn't matter because you're not trying to match up with somebody else. But in a choir, it's very important to watch the conductor. So let's start on page 5.
Give me wings that I may soar, strong wings to reach the distant shore, with wings to fly, where dreams begin.
2, 3, 4.
Sure wings to take me home again.
Good. And you waited for the cutoff. That was excellent. And we're doing better on our phrasing, but it can get that much better as well. And in measure 36, what does it say at the top?
Tempo.
Tempo. So after we get slower in measure 34, we're going to decrescendo, and then we're going to go back to the original tempo. So just a place to watch. Let's try that one more time through. We'll try and make this as polished as possible. And you're on stage. Okay? Okay, one measure for free, and then lower voices. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, give me wings that I may soar, strong wings to reach the distant shore, swift wings to fly, where dreams begin. Sure wings to take me home again.
So, one more time, what does rubato mean?
To rob.
To rob. And what are we going to do? How does that apply to the music?
Dramatic effect.
Yeah.
Dramatic.
Freely. Something like that.
We have to be unified, so watch the conductor. Alright, and then we're going to... Okay. And watch phrasing.